The delusion is insane with this one. Watch as Jasmine Crockett calls Kash Patel the least qualified FBI director in the history of America. You guys have got to check this out.
And there has been so much today, and I truly don't know where to start. So I'm just going to make sure that we start off with a few facts. So a couple of facts that we need to make clear for everyone is that, number one, Director Christopher Wray, when he was appointed to be the head of the FBI, was appointed by Donald Trump. Now, I will agree that I definitely take issue with a number of decisions that Donald Trump makes, especially when it comes to the people that he decides to appoint to very important positions, including this one, because I did have to make sure that I wasn't going crazy. But when I say that you are the least qualified FBI director in the history of the FBI, that is real, because you are the only one that never even served with the FBI prior to joining, yet we are supposed to believe that you are the greatest thing since sliced bread. I didn't ask you a question. Now, what I want to go through is to talk about why you are a failure and why, honestly, we just need to tell you bye-bye. I know that you got a little upset and you put on your show for your boss because it seems like you're trying to save your job when it came to talking to Senator Booker yesterday. But let's go through some of your failures. So before you were even confirmed, and I think one of my colleague from Georgia, pointed out that you are already targeting career officials so that you could direct illegal firings. Mind you, these cases that you were so upset about, which are the ones tied to Trump, the cases came through his handpicked FBI director. And frankly, when people sit around and say things like, oh, you know, we're happy because now we feel safe. I don't know who feels safe in this country except for the white supremacists, because I specifically as a black woman definitely don't feel safe. And frankly, my colleagues have been real nice to you today, and I applaud them, but I don't have the same demeanor because I know that multiple colleagues on this side of the aisle have faced death threats. In fact, somebody tried to kill one of my colleagues. And frankly, I don't know if this FBI or under your leadership, if those people would have been caught. I don't have any confidence in you. And if we start talking about the reasons that I lack confidence, we could start with you not just wanting to acknowledge some simple facts. Simple facts like the vast majority of the threats are coming from right-wing extremism. And I know my colleagues have tried to stress this, but I decided that I would maybe do it in a different way. Number one, I have a couple of UCs. Kim Buck, one of multiple Republicans receiving death threats for voting against Jim Jordan as House Speaker.
Without objection.
Another one, Republican lawmaker says she received death threats after voting against Jim Jordan in Speaker's race.
Without objection.
In addition, there was another one from another colleague who now is leaving Congress because they said that they were calling his wife anonymously and threatening her life to the extent that she ended up sleeping with a firearm.
Without objection.
Okay, so here's the deal. How are we supposed to have confidence when you're sitting up here telling the Senate yesterday that it will take you 14 years before you can get the FBI fully staffed to do their jobs? You're also now redirecting resources so that they can go and play ICE agents on the streets. You're getting rid of your most qualified people. And even when it came down to somebody that you consider to be a friend, you were posted up having some fancy dinner to the extent that you posted not only once erroneously, you posted twice erroneously as it relates to catching somebody. And then you want to go and say, let me take a victory lap. Because honestly, if it wasn't for parents deciding that they were going to turn in their child, it seems like y'all wouldn't have got there, even though he literally confessed online. So I'm confused about what it is that the FBI is doing except for trying to put on a show for the apprentice or whatever you want to call him. The day after all of this took place, there was domestic terrorism that was taking place at HBCUs. They were targeted. Yet I didn't hear anything from the FBI about what was going on. And again, black people kept saying, how did we end up in this? because the numbers are so very clear that white supremacy is a problem. And honestly, I've not heard anything out of you today that makes me believe that you're going to do anything about the white supremacy problem, the one that is leading to children being killed, children being shot, as well as members of their community as they're worshiping in their churches.
The time of the gentlelady has expired. If the gentleman would like to respond to any of that. Well, I'll respond. Kash Patel, as I said when I introduced him, public defender, former prosecutor, top staffer on the House Intelligence Committee, Deputy Director of National Intelligence with the National Security Council, Chief of Staff at the Department of Defense, and FBI Director. I think that's a pretty good resume for the guy who's now running the top law enforcement agency in our country. And we've seen all the stats that he's given to the committee on how much better they're doing at getting the bad guys than the previous guy was doing. With that, I recognize the gentleman from South Carolina.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Director Patel, I think you're witnessing some auditions, clickbait auditions for the Academy Award for my Democratic colleagues. We'll see how they fare as they're on MSNBC later on today. But do you care, before I launch into my line of questioning, to respond to Ms. Crockett from Texas on that very elaborate and theatric display?
Here's what I've learned in my government service. I don't give a damn what they say about me as long as I'm succeeding in the mission. We're succeeding in the mission because the men and women of the FBI have never been empowered to do more work and to hit the streets harder than by President Trump's authorities and resources he's given us. And so all I care about is that we are capturing more child predators than ever before, taking more drugs off the streets than ever before, that we are capturing murderers at a significantly historic rate, and we're delivering this country the lowest murder rate in recorded history. That are facts that you cannot dispute. But you can come at me all you want. I don't care.
Thank you, Director, for that. And we appreciate your service. We appreciate the results speak for themselves, I think, pretty plainly, and your commitment not only to results, but to transparency.
You know what this reminds me of? It's if like Larry Bird from the 1980s gets heckled from somebody in the crowd who doesn't know a lick about basketball. They're saying, you can't shoot, you can't do this, you can't do that. Why would I bother responding to you? You're not even worth the time it takes to respond. I don't respect your opinion because, number one, everything you say is hateful. Number two, everything you say is wrong. And number three, you will do anything it takes. No matter what I say, you will not change your mind. I could put in boatloads of energy trying to shift your mind and say, you know what? This is my perspective. This is why I believe this. But plain and simple, you're ignorant. You're not going to actually take that into account. You're just going to say, nah, you're wrong. I'm a black woman. I'm in Congress. I could do this. I could do that. Every single time she opens her mouth, she has to make it known that she's African American. Nobody cares about that. We just care who is the most qualified person for the position. And it's clear that you are not qualified for it because you constantly flaunt that fact that you're like a DEI hire. Like, let's be honest. Kash Patel's FBI is far more successful at protecting this country than any other FBI director in at least the past 20 years. That is a fact. Then she has the audacity to say that Kash Patel is not qualified for the FBI directorship because he did not serve in the FBI. He was firing some of our best people in the FBI who've made their entire career there. Let's think about that for a second. Your entire career is spent at the FBI, and yet the FBI was still not doing a great job. Does that mean that maybe you're like a partisan political hack and you weren't actually doing your best? I'm sure the swamp in the FBI was deep, and Kash Patel is doing his best to try and navigate through that and get rid of people who are trying to sabotage his efforts of protecting this country. And not only that, she mentions how FBI is using some of its resources to help get out illegal immigrants from this country. If you ask me, that's part of the job description. The FBI is to protect the United States domestically, and anybody who is in this country illegally is a threat to this country domestically. That makes perfect sense. But the sad thing about this whole situation is that there will be people who know nothing about what's actually going on in this country, hear Jasmine Crockett say some pretty inflammatory statements regarding the director of the FBI, and the people are going to just believe that as a fact. because these people are out of their minds, delusional. They'll say anything just to protect their side and their narrative, and people are going to scoop that up and eat it. But what got me the most is that she had the audacity to say political violence is happening in this country, and it's happening from the right. A lot of right people are attacking Democratic people, and they're scared to go to sleep at night that they even put a gun underneath their pillowcase. Are you flipping kidding me? When was the last time a Republican attacked a Democrat? It happened at the ICE facility. It happened at Charlie Kirk shooting. It happened at the softball game when Steve Scalise, a sitting congressman, was attacked and shot at a political softball game, Democrats versus Republicans. That is the most sickening lie to me, because it's almost like they're trying to rewrite history in real time, and they'll just get away with it to those people who are uninformed and not really paying attention. Jasmine Crockett is everything wrong with Congress today. She has no idea what she's talking about, and her utter lack of decorum and respect to other people was really baffling to me. I don't know how people could watch her and think that she is doing the right thing. But make no mistake, as the years go on, history will only prove that we are on the right side and Jasmine Crockett is on the wrong side of history. But yeah, let me know your thoughts on this down below. Who do you think is the most unqualified person in Congress today? You think it's Jasmine Crockett? You think it's Adam Schiff? Let me know your thoughts. I'd love to hear that. And if you enjoyed, make sure to smash like, comment, subscribe, and wish you guys nothing but the best. Till next time.